What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, party people? Hopefully y'all have had a good week. I've had an interesting couple of weeks. I've dealt with some stuff, but it's all good. You know me. You don't know me, but you know me. I'm always still crack a smile and laugh, and it's nothing detrimental going on. It's just like some little, but nothing that keeps me from delivering for you guys. Yeah. Let's get into this news. So there was some things going on in Texas. Texas is having a few issues with their Asian citizens down there. Asian Americans in Texas are angered after officials revealed this week that thousands of Asians statewide may be impacted by identity theft or orchestrated through a website that involved using personal information to answer security questions. The State Department of Public Safety said unknowingly sent estimated 3,000 driver's licenses to an organized group that targeted Asians in the state. A Texas committee said on Monday the incident, which is currently under investigation, was discovered in December. McGraw said, and the department has begun to notify victims by mail this week. With no warning about the incident for months, Asian Americans say they were disappointed in the DPS's response and feel they've been kept in the dark. It really goes to show that our government does not see nor care about us and does not prioritize our welfare. Lily True said, who is the director of Asian Texans for Justice. DPS did not respond to NBC's news request for comment. McGraw did not reveal the name of the organization, but told the Texas House Appropriations Committee that a New York-based Chinese organized crime group had obtained the licenses with Asian names to sell to undocumented immigrants, predominantly from China, in hopes of impersonating the victims. He added that with the licenses, impersonators could go on to obtain additional supporting identification featuring their own photos. Using personal information of the victims obtained from the dark web or websites hidden by traditional surface browsers. The group was able to answer security questions on the state's Gov website. The questions have since been removed from the website. The identity questions could be something you may have shared with a credit card company or something like your mother's maiden name, your first vehicle that you ever had, your favorite sport. They use these questions to be able to get into the purchase and replacement of the driver's license on Asian-sounding names, and for that, get a replacement driver's license into their address of their choosing. Prompted by questioning the state rep Mary Gonzalez, vice chair of the committee, McGraw said the victims' identifications could have been used during the months in which they had not been notified. He said that DPS did not alert victims right away because the department opted to conduct a thorough investigation before making the information public. McGraw also said he didn't see it as a breach, saying the criminal organization did not hack into the website, rather the group discovered a vulnerability and exploited it. Brittany Booth Taylor, Director of Media and Relations of Texas Department of Information Services, echoed McGraw's language in a statement. This is fraudulent criminal activity based on identity theft unrelated to state systems, not a cybersecurity incident. No state systems, including the state's portal, were hacked or breached. So, I mean, yeah, you just have to constantly check it to see. They should have like a thing like Experian where you check your credit and just check it for crime too, or anything else. It should be some kind of, in today's society, especially in the age of everybody stealing people's identity, there should be something that tells us like, hey, somebody's using your identity, you would think. So Chris Rock's Netflix special dropped, and he is still talking about the slap. Let's take a listen. I did not watch it. Okay. I have to replay this because it went out. All right.
As markets rise and markets fall with swings of joy and dread,
of course there will be an ad playing.
There's betterment.
Because why wouldn't there be an ad playing?
Betterment instead. A low-risk, high-yield cash account can keep your goals in line. Save up, no matter the amount. Be invested, rain and shine.
Oh, wow! A year after the slap heard around the world, comedian Chris Rock finally had his say to an audience of millions.
Y'all know what happened to me, getting smacked by Suge Smith.
Using his long-awaited special, Selective Outrage, streamed live on Netflix, to take big swings back at actor Will Smith.
The people I did it hurt. It still hurts. I got summertime ringing in my ears. Oh, wow.
The slap, as you'll recall, happened when Rock made a joke at last year's Oscars about Jada Pinkett Smith's appearance.
Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
Smith eventually made a public apology.
My behavior was unacceptable.
And was banned from the Oscars for a decade.
That's right.
Rock was long silent on the slap. Now, the way he tells it, he bore the brunt of Smith's alleged marital troubles. Some of Rock's hardest hits saved for Jada.
She started this. Nobody was picking on her.
The timing of the Netflix special is no coincidence, just a week ahead of this year's Oscars.
And a lot of people go, Chris, how come you didn't do nothing back? I got parents. And you know what my parents taught me? Don't fight in front of white people.
Yet after all the punchlines, it isn't clear if Rock and Smith, who were close friends, have actually spoken. Representatives for the Smiths didn't respond to requests for comment.
I have rooted for Will Smith my whole life. And now I watch Emancipation just to see him get whooped.
About the slap that's still at center stage and stinging. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News.
So, yeah, I will be happy when we put this whole incident to bed. I still think it's fake. I just don't even care. Hollywood is so fake anyway, but I'm ready to put it to bed. It has been a year, and the Oscars will go back to being boring, and they have a crisis team, so maybe they'll have more drama, or is that what they're anticipating? I think that's the most violent thing that's ever happened to the Oscars, except for people maybe getting the wrong award and something like that, but that was the most excitement that ever happened, actually. So yeah, let's see what else we got here to talk about. It's actually, besides Trump speaking at CPAC, a lot of people, it's nothing worth talking about on that, because why would I want to talk about that? Let's see what these celebrities are doing here. Pete Davidson is dating somebody named SUI, and they were involved in a car wreck in Beverly Hills, slammed into the side of a house. Then Pete Davidson was driving Kim Kardashian's Rolls Royce to 7-Eleven for cigarettes. And Pete Davidson and Northwest were joyriding, hanging with Kim and family. Very strange. That whole thing is strange and something that I'm still not interested in enough. I'm just glad that Kanye's been quiet. I mean, you can't ask for anything else. Like, the man's been quiet, so we'll leave that be. Let's see what else we got here. So Brittany Renner is the girl that was with all the little basketball players. She's kind of like the gold digging girl that everybody loves to hate. Me personally, I think she's just doing what's being allowed. Let's see. She reflects on her criticism she received in her past relationships with men and stuff like that. Let's take a look. And Honey Boo Boo also was found with marijuana, which is like, what's going on with little Honey Boo Boo? Her little boyfriend and her were, she's a teenager. Let the little girl go. Let's see here. So 47
Okay, pause though.
minutes.
Wait, what's going on?
I feel like you told him no.
Like, I hear you, and we can pivot, but I'm telling you right now, like, straight up, this is my f***ing truth.
We don't want that to become the narrative of what this interview is, but I get it. Vent,
No, I'm not venting. This is not venting. This is the truth. Like, I feel like I need some air now. After meltdown.
Brittany Renner is a social media superstar, fitness model, and an OG Instagram girl. She's also no stranger to navigating a world where everyone on social media thinks they know the real her. So, Brittany is stepping into the shade room to let the world know exactly who she is and speak her truth.
What's up, roommates? It's your girl Tembi, and today we have none other than Brittany Renner stepping into the shade room.
Okay, officially, hi. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm better now that I'm here in front of you.
Yes, I love that for us. So, you are literally one of the most intelligent, self-aware, articulate people on the internet, and I just feel like you don't get enough credit for it.
Well, thank you. No one has ever said that to me.
No, it's true. Like, if people actually really take the time to pay attention and listen to what you say, they'll get it. But they don't be listening sometimes.
Well,
but
real recognize real. So
real recognize real.
Thank you.
So obviously a lot of media a little bit. So you were raised by your grandparents.
Yes.
And you've shared before that, they were racist. So what was that experience like?
Never thought joining Instagram back in 2012 that I would still be here, relevant, an important voice, doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Like, I've been like 10 years doing that. Like,
10
there's
years
no
in
way.
the game.
10 years.
Okay, we're not gonna play this entire interview, but basically she was just saying that she had been criticized for dating guys in her past for money and pretty much doing what Kim Kardashian does. She said, I've always wanted a relationship. I've always been a one-woman man. I think a lot of the narrative is from when he tweeted, you were faking it all along. He never came to my aid. So who are you going to believe, him or me? He knows that, but why would he come to my aid and upset me? The 31-year-old went up to explain. Unfortunately, she had to accept criticism from the world, but she says she can't understand why people continue to have the same view for her. I don't know why people even still think that way about that situation. I love my child's father to death. I don't want to be with him, and our son was playing. I thought that was my guy. I asked foolishly. So then they also accused her of grooming because he was like younger, but she denied those accusations. She did not trap him, etc., etc. This girl, so if you don't know her past, she slept with a lot of people, so that's why she's getting heat for her sexual partners. And the list is long, from Colin Kaepernick to Jamal Murray to Ben Simmons to James Harden to Little Uzi, like the list, and I'll say allegedly, but we all know. But the list is long. I mean, she's been with a lot. Even Kevin Samuels, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Tyga. And these are alleged. I'll keep saying that. Drake, all these people. So she's got the reputation of being a pass around. And so she's wondering why at 31 she still has that reputation. And unfortunately, lady, especially for women, men can kind of overcome their hoish ways, but for women, we're kind of stuck. We're stuck in that forever going to be, like with that brand, especially when I know that she said she had like sex with 2 people in one day and somebody had gave her STD. Like she was very vocal, because that was a thing back then, to be vocal about everybody you slept with, and to clean up that act is a hard thing to do. So sorry, buddy, it just happens. Let's get into our Dear Abby stuff. Let's see what we have before we get into Ratchet, because we're going to get into Ratchet. I don't see anything. I mean, all these are kind of boring already. Sister-in-law miffed when she's left out of wedding. Woman's living arrangement leaves her feeling trapped. Woman struggles to connect with late brother's widow. Friend struggles with diabetes, causes concern. Man wants to avoid contact entirely with sons-in-laws. I'll read that one, but all these are kind of boring. Dear Abby, my husband and I have a son, daughter-in-law, and grandson. We moved from another city to be closer to them and be part of their lives. The problem is my husband dislikes our daughter-in-law's parents. He refuses to spend holidays or attend other activities where both sets of parents will be. I don't think the other parents or my daughter-in-laws are aware of his dislike. This leaves me feeling extremely sad and not knowing what to do. I feel this is his problem and not mine. I have no issues with the other parents. I feel like I should be able to attend my grandson's activities without him. There are times when we visit our son and his family alone, so that works well. Neither our son nor daughter-in-law knows how he feels, and I can't say anything for fear that it will cause her feelings, especially for my daughter-in-law, whom I love very much. Please advise. And she says, relationships can be complicated. Not all families meld easily. It's regrettable, but it's also a fact. While it would be nice if your husband would be willing to make an effort to control his distaste so he can be included in more get-togethers, he's made it clear that he isn't. Continue visiting your son and daughter-in-law and in-laws, and let your husband have other plans. Be busy. If your son or daughter-in-law asks your husband is absent, tell them to ask him. I agree, and I agree with the husband too. Like, if I don't want to see you, I ain't going to see you, especially when you get a certain age. Like, you don't want to deal with these people. Let's see what else we got here in our ratchet questions. See what we got here. I was hoping Dear Abby would be more interesting, but it just wasn't. This lady says she's a woman who loves the thought of my man cheating. Any guys willing to send me hot descriptions of their cheating stories, I love to hear them. How about when, where, and what the side girl is, and overall the details. The best stories will get my attention. Interesting. She gets off on that. I've always wondered about cheating stories. Why does the cheater always cheat or intend to cheat? In this case, with the absolute closest person in their family, it's always a husband with a sister. Wow. Do people not cheat with their spouse? Isn't it intimately familiar? And she said, I'm 24 and have been with my boyfriend for 5 years. I also have a 26-year-old sister who's married. Okay, so back to New Year's Eve, my sister got blackout drunk and kissed my boyfriend and grabbed his crotch. My boyfriend pushed away. I witnessed all of it. I drove her home and haven't talked to her since. I never thought about telling her husband that was until her husband texted me telling me how badly my sister missed me and that he paid for the expenses. I asked him what expenses. Apparently my sister told him the reason I wouldn't talk to her was because she threw up all over my room, ruining my bed. Crazy, I know. I told him that wasn't it, then told him everything that happened. About an hour later, my sister showed up at my house, banging on my door. She said her husband left with the kids for the week. She has 2 young children and how I ruined her life. She said I shouldn't have said anything. It's been so long. She was blackout drunk and that wasn't her true character. I never intended to ruin her life, but she made me sound like I did it on purpose. I mean, I don't understand how you get drunk and do stuff like that. To me, when you're drunk, your true intentions come out. I don't know if I would tell her husband, but I would definitely we would definitely need some time apart, but I don't know. I've never had this stuff happen to me before, but that is very extreme on both sides. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Some of these things are so crazy. See if we can find some dating nightmares. Those are always great. Single mom entitled demanding I pay for 2 to 3 more meals on top of my dinner, saying she's getting food for her kids, saying that I owe her and her time. Thank goodness I just met her in the end of her ride and I already paid myself before she showed up, that I just walked out on her. Somebody said I've had that happen before. The one girl I dated paid for her own meal and didn't want me to pay, but half of our first date on everything. We're 8 years married now. Yeah, I don't agree with I think that obviously if you date somebody with kids, eventually you have to understand their package deal, but demanding meals for kids up front is not the move. And I would, give that same advice to my son. I mean, actually, I tell my son, obviously you can be a gentleman, but at least the girl should be offering. Don't just sit up there and pay for everything off the bat. Worst date. Met the guy at a local restaurant for a drink and possibly dinner. He was already there and clearly had already been drinking. It didn't take long for me to not want to be there, so I made my platitudes and was leaving. Inebriated dude was following me, trying to convince me to stay. He tripped going down the steps, fell forward onto me, and took us both down. I ended up with a concussion. Dang. Met a guy online and seemed pretty nice. We went to a crowded pub and only seats were near the washroom. Someone went in and stuck up the entire area, so we left. At the next place, he proceeds to badger me to do shots with him. I was already a few glasses of wine in and said no because I was getting up early the next day. After my 5th or 6th no, I have to get up early, he sarcastically says, yeah, you mentioned that. Not at all in a joking way, but irritated. The next day, he texted me a greeting. Within 3 minutes of me not responding, he said hello with a follow-up text. I told him I'd felt uncomfortable the night before, and he accused me of being completely wrong and acted like I was crazy. I ended the conversation quickly after that. He earned the name Angry Hipster among my friends. Yeah, he was already giving you red flags. Nothing really embarrassing, but I showed up to a woman that was 10 years older and maybe 80 pounds heavier than her pictures went out with a woman to a normal Mexican restaurant. She orders drink after drink, gets trash, and leaves me stuck with over $100 bill. A woman one time done talking the talk about CrossFit and her ex-boyfriend. If you try to stuff me with a bill, then I'm leaving too. They just gonna have to chase one of us. And you could have got out of there, bro, if she's 80 pounds heavier. I've been married so long I can't remember many days prior to my wife, and nothing really embarrassing happened. Instead, I'll tell another story that comes back to this topic. I had a friend at work, another guy who I used to go to happy hours and such. We were about as good of friends as people who are only work friends can be, and both were basically foodies, and we organized lunches with groups of people to try in new restaurants and such. Before I go further, I should mention that his friend was recently divorced, so he liked to have a good social life. I was already married at the time, but it wasn't a big deal for me to go out to drinks with friends. One day he invites me to happy hour, which I assume would be a large group of people like normal, and he seems pretty excited. It was a local sushi restaurant, and a lot of us from work liked. I'm running a bit late, so my friend is already there, and I let him know I'm on my way. When I arrive to the restaurant, my friend is there, and at the table with him are two beautiful women from another department from work. He was trying to go out with one and needed a wingman, but I guess he never told me. Anyway, we had a nice double date, but being something of a Boy Scout, I kept enough boundary that I didn't lead anyone on. And the woman I was mostly talking with knows that I'm married with kids and all that. Now, after she became a regular member of a general happy hour group, the one my friend was interested in didn't keep hanging out with us though, and frankly, she was out of his league. So that was the most embarrassing date I've been on. Really, dude? I read all that for that? What a freaking joke. That was stupid. And annoying. I literally almost lost my voice reading all that crap. I'll do one more, and this better be good or I'm gonna be bad. My worst day has to be during 2020. It was the summer lockdown. Restrictions were being eased here in England, and I went on Tinder. I was 38 at the time, and I got super like from a 24-year-old woman. And when the messenger started, it basically felt like I was being love bombed. I was getting so many compliments, it was unreal. By day 3, I decided we just had to meet. That's really out of character for me. First date. Let me drink some water. And since this is from England, I feel like I need an accent. So let me conjure up my English accent. And it might be terrible, but so what? First date. She invites me over to her place. This sounds more Irish. She invites me over to her place for cuddles. Yep, my best friend is a woman that she warned to me to steer clear. But I thought, it stacks on a plate. This accent was trash, so I trashed it. And I went. Turns out she had the filthiest house I'd ever been in. There was also what looked like a 12-year-old girl there, and clearly my date cannot possibly be the mother. Turns out she was babysitting. First impressions, I was not attracted to this woman. She had made zero effort. Her personality was meh. She spent about an hour complaining about her housemates because of all the dust in the house. My allergies had been triggered. So I began sneezing, my skin was itching, and my eyes felt awful. The woman received a message, and it was from one of her friends asking for the little girl she was babysitting to be dropped off home. So my date left me in her house on my own. At this point, a blonde girl came downstairs, looked at me, and just said, "Dude, run. She's crazy." And then went on to tell me how crazy my date was. I listened to her and ran. Easily the worst day ever. The fact that you stayed in her house after she dropped off a kid she was babysitting in the dirty house alone, you should have got out of there sooner. Those were safe. I didn't want to do no crazy sex stories today. I'm just easing back into talking to you guys, but tomorrow we might get wild. I don't know, because some of these stories be out of control. But I'm back. The news was quiet. I don't think anybody died because I didn't read anything, so that's good. Just a couple of stolen identities. It happens to the best of us. You guys have an amazing week where I'm going to give you some positive vibes today, but always, and I'll be sending you something. I'll get some stuff out for you. It's Monday. We got to take it day by day, guys. Efforts for Family is signing off, and I need to drink more water because after reading that terrible story, yeah, now my voice is all cracky. Efforts for Family is signing off. I am going to work on my English accent, mates.